AI stops trying to load your page at 100 milliseconds. So if your page loading time is too slow, that is a real issue. We make sure that it's fast.
I can guarantee you right now that 90% of the dental websites out there are not fast enough.
Think how when mobile and desktop, we had to create two different versions. We had to create the desktop version and the mobile version for a site.
Mm-hmm.
Now we believe that we are needing to create a human and an AI version for your site.
So
9x conversion rate as compared to Google. 9x.
Seriously. Wow.
Yep. People coming through ChatGPT and AI platforms are 9 times more likely to convert than if they came through Google.
Unbelievable.
AI isn't just changing dentistry, it's completely redefining it. Tune into Bite-sized Podcast, the Dental AI and Tech Podcast, and stay ahead of the curve.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Bite-sized Podcast. I have Emily Richardson on the podcast today. What's up, Emily?
Hi, everybody.
I actually found Emily on TikTok.
Yep.
Yeah. So he popped up on my For You page and I'm like, oh, this gal knows what she's talking about. I need to reach out to her, talk about AI. And after we chatted our first time, I was like, oh, she actually is doing quite a few cool things. And this conversation today, if you're interested in trying to rank in AI search, so showing up in AI overviews, ChatGPT queries, you want your patients to find you in ChatGPT, which is starting to happen. It's crazy. I just read an article like 2 days ago that ChatGPT is getting 2.5 billion queries a day.
Correct.
A day.
Yep. And that's
like a 4,000% increase from a year ago.
Yes.
No, 40,000% increase. It's insane.
7 months ago, it was 1 billion queries. So just in 7 months, it increased that much.
Yeah. If you want, your patients are going and they're searching, hey, I need to find a really great dentist here. Who should I talk to? And you want ChatGPT to say, call these guys. And you want that to be you need to listen to this podcast. Anyway, so I'm glad that you responded to my cryptic DM in TikTok, and I'm glad we're on here. So
same here. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
All right, cool. Well, Emily, to get started, since you haven't been in the dental industry, and these are mostly going to be dental peeps, listen to this. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, where you came from, how you got into AI really quick. Don't make it too long. Just give us the overview.
I'll give you a really brief overview. Hi, everybody. Right. I am Emily Richardson. I'm the co-founder of Known and creator of Dual Web. My background is a mix of marketing and sociology. I've worked on agency, client side, companies that have eventually gone public. And when AI first came into the mainstream a few years ago, I think like all of you, my mind was blown. But immediately, I also knew that I wanted to do something with that. And so I pivoted my career and really moved heavily into everything AI. I've been building in that space for over 2 years now. And I'm right now building a company around AI search and how brands can show up on AI platforms.
And spell Known for us.
KNWN.
Yeah.
Yep.
.com.
.app. Yep.
KNWN.app.
Yes, that is the website.
All right. Well, tell us about Known.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Great question. Great question. So I'll back up a little bit before I describe exactly what Known is doing and share that we are operating under the thesis that Google is going to be going away as we know it. Soon, nobody is going to be searching on Google, going through those 10 blue links, trying to synthesize and figure things out for themselves. Instead, we believe, and society is showing us, that people are going to be switching to using AI platforms. Even Google's AI mode, they're pushing that out extremely hard right now. Think ChatGPT, Google AI mode, Gemini, Claude, and Perplexity. Those are kind of the biggest players in the game right now.
What about Grok?
Grok, it's had some ups and downs. We're going to see. We're going to wait a little longer to see if that one stays up.
It's probably the name. Elon has to come up with these weird names, but anyway.
Yes, no, exactly. That's less of a giant player, but yeah, we're focusing on the ChatGPTs and Geminis of the world at the moment. Because if you're thinking about it, the user experience on AI platforms is simply better. You ask one question and you get a very clear and direct answer. And you can even look through the citations and the sources on that side panel as well, as compared to Google, where you have to scroll, synthesize, and kind of decide for yourself AI platforms tell you the exact answer and make it personalized. So that's the thesis around which we're building the company Known.
It's a pretty, by the way, it's a pretty strong thesis because all the consumer behavior data it's obvious that this is where it's going. We're not going to use search like we did in the past.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the reason why Google put AI overviews at the top of the freaking search engine is because if they don't, everybody's going to stop using Google.
Yeah. For the first time, the monopoly of Google is at risk, and they are trying extremely hard to catch back up. Even to put some stats behind it, 14% of American consumers are using ChatGPT every single day. 61% have tried it in general. We're even seeing Gen Z, about 85% have tried it regularly.
Gen Z, are you a Gen Zer?
Zillennial. I'm in that weird cusp. Yeah, but can relate to both.
Wow.
Yeah, about 85%. And they are heavily trusting these platforms as well. So as we're going into these first generations of AI native generations, I like to say, they're putting a lot of trust and faith in AI platforms. And these are just getting better and better over time. So this is a shift that is we view as inevitable. So what my company Known does is it helps you understand how you are showing up in AI answers as one piece. And then it also helps you optimize both your content on-site and offsite, so you get picked up in those answers more frequently. We have something called the dual web, which I'll get into a lot more, that really optimizes your on-site content. And then we also have a product that shows you a little peek behind the curtain of how you are showing up on these AI platforms. We are consistently running queries, consistently trying to understand how your brand is performing compared to your competitors on AI search across all 4 of the major AI search platforms.
I have a quick question. I don't know if you know the statistic on this, but when we talk about AI search, we've got the 3 main platforms in Gemini. We've got, ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity.
Yep.
ChatGPT is probably by far the major leader in people using that to do search. And you've got Google's Gemini, which is the AI overview at the top of search.
Yep.
Do you have any idea on the percentage of consumers that are leveraging one tool over another? Because everybody uses Google. And so Google Gemini inevitably is going to get a lot of traffic and eyeballs.
Yep.
Do you have any statistics on how many people use ChatGPT versus Gemini? Or
I do not off the top of my head, but I can quickly gather that information using Perplexity, actually, if you would like, and kind of dig down deeper as well. But you are right in the fact that this is kind of a long game, and right now we're just at the start. So consumers are using ChatGPT, but as you noted very eloquently here, we are seeing Google is starting to kind of bring us into AI and AI search even more. They have that dive deeper option under AI overviews
under the
now.
AI overview. Yeah.
They have AI mode as that side tab. They've rolled it out in the US, in India, and the UK, and they're looking to roll it out in more countries as well. So ranked, we're seeing ChatGPT number 1, Google Gemini 2, Copilot 3, and then Claude is down toward that bottom area.
There's actually more people using ChatGPT than they are Google, or just
Gemini.
Just Gemini.
Yes.
Okay, which is not a statistic, meaning people are still going to Google and doing regular searches. They're getting the AI overview, but they're not going into Gemini to do a search.
Yes.
So there's definitely probably a lot more eyeballs seeing the AI overviews in Google than people are using ChatGPT.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So
yes.
I'm saying that because Google's not going away. They're just at risk of losing market share.
Yep.
Okay.
For the first time ever for search. Their market share went below 90% for the very first time ever.
Yeah, it's been like
this
92
month.
or something like that.
It's been 92 forever. Consistently. It's now, I believe, 89.7 or something.
And that has to be freaking people out over there.
If it's not, I would be extremely surprised.
Yeah, it is. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. Before I move on to the kind of the leading, I do think it's important that the listeners understand the basic how the AI results are being generated.
Yep.
So can you tell me a little bit about how traditional search was done on Google when you put a query in and how you got a
Absolutely.
response versus how AI is creating a response? And I think that will lead us to why the responses in AI are better and more consumers are using them rather than clicking on a link.
Yeah, great question. So I'll touch quickly on how Google is searching and then move into how the AI answers are searching
Okay.
differently. So with Google, you're typing in your query. Actually, we found that for Google, the average query is around 4 words. For AI searches, it's around 23 words. So there's already a pretty
Wow.
stark difference there.
So long tail keywords versus
Long
short.
tail versus short. Yes. So for Google, you type in your 4-word keywords, your query. It then does something called query parsing. It looks it up and indexes it and looks it up within its own database, ranks the sources, and that's where we see the rank optimization elements. It then displays them all, and the user then clicks the links. So it goes through its own little database, it indexes, it's reading through the text. Google, I like to say, we all think of those like long recipes where someone has their whole life story before, like a recipe for a pumpkin pie. And you go through their whole life story before you even get to the recipe. Google loves that. Google loves that for SEO, all of those things. AI prefers actually the exact opposite of that. And so breaking down how AI answer engines work, ChatGPT, Gemini, AI mode, first you enter the query. And as I mentioned, that's on average about 23 or more words.
And that's because people are speaking, not typing, right?
People are speaking,
Primarily.
not typing. They're also putting a lot of themselves into these queries. So, for example, if I were looking for a dentist on Google, maybe I would look up dentist for root canal, and that's it. But on AI answer engines, I might look up what's a dentist near me for root canals. I am X years old and I have dental anxiety. So want to make sure XYZ. And all of this will be taken into consideration. On Google, that wouldn't make any sense to type in.
No, because the algorithm for traditional search is not built.
Is not.
The consumer doesn't even expect to get an answer that would be relevant to that long phrase. But with AI, you can actually get that answer.
You can.
So people are just being super specific about what they're searching for.
Absolutely. And one of the reasons that you can do this is because the second step in AI answer engines is the query fan out. So this longer query of 23, 30 words talking about my life story and that I'm scared of dentists, it's then fanned out into 10 or 15 smaller subqueries. These cover things like intent. These cover things like different variations of the question. And this really allows the AI answer engine to look at the question holistically. Instead of just asking one thing, it asks 15 different queries.
Is the AI taking that 24-word long query and just are they just parsing that piece in different pieces, or are they actually listening to your voice to understand if you're anxious or if it's an emergency? I mean, is it to that?
That's a great question. It's not there yet. Emphasis on yet. They are. So if I were to say a root canal for a dentist near me, I have dental anxiety, make sure it's somebody who takes that into account. The query fan out would be something like dentist near me for dental anxiety, dentist near me for a root canal, kind dentists, a bunch of different variations of that query that get to the intent and the core that, hey, I need a root canal and I'm scared. And who's going to treat me the best for that, those specific circumstances.
So it's looking at intent. It's trying to determine an intent and then coming up with variations on the query.
Yep.
And then fanning out and looking at what?
Great. So that's the next step, is called RAG, or retrieval augmented generation. It takes all of these query fan outs and it runs them through a search engine. So Gemini runs through Google, ChatGPT supposedly runs through Bing, although that is still hotly contested. So we'll see if they.
And the reason why is because Bing is owned by
Bing is owned by Microsoft. Yes,
Microsoft Google fight. Okay, anyway.
Exactly. The age old fight there. Perplexity has its own search engine that it's going through. So does Claude, and so they're then using all 15, running, let's say, a Google search for all 15 of those queries, and then going through all of those answers. So this is why I say that search engine optimization is still at the core of answer engine optimization or generative engine optimization. It's still needed for strong AEO. SEO is still needed because it does search on these major platforms.
Right.
But it goes through, it retrieves all of those citations, it filters and ranks them based on authority, based on how well they match the query. It then synthesizes all of those into an answer. It uses its own training to see if it needs to add any more context. And then it finally outputs the answer, including all of the citations as well.
So as it's fanning out and it's using all these different queries with the RAG model, right?
Yep.
Right. It's skipping the lifelong story about the pumpkin pie
Yes.
recipe, and it's going down just to the section that's relevant to the query or one of the queries that are created from the original query. It's grabbing that chunk of, I think they call them
chunking.
chunks, right?
Yep.
Chunking. So they grab that chunk, then it goes somewhere else, it grabs another chunk, it grabs all these chunks, pulls it in, and in its own AI engine creates its own answer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay.
Yep.
And then it cites where it grabbed that information from. So that's called a citation.
Yes.
So that's when you're looking in the AI overviews, you've got a little link there. And on the right-hand side of the page, at least in Google Gemini, there are some, you know, some links there. So you can click on that link and it'll show you where it grabbed that chunk of information.
It takes you directly to the chunk as well. So it highlights that chunk.
Right.
So
it's like not landing on the homepage. You're going to the blog post that was 2 years ago, middle
to the
of
one
page.
paragraph it picked. And one of the key things for AI search, and we'll get into this as we talk about dual web, is around the importance of making sure you have as much information at the top of your page as possible. For that recipe example, for example, it does not like reading through the whole page. It does not index like Google. It does not read through the whole page.
So you don't want to tell a long narrative story.
You do not. You want actually the best way to do it is have the question as the title and the answer as the first sentence. And if you have that format, it's much more likely to then keep reading and continue down to find possibly other relevant chunks. If you have something entirely unrelated to the query at the very top, it's going to see that and say, actually, never mind, I'm out. I'm going to a different site.
Okay. All right. So optimizing for AI search, you mentioned that traditional SEO has not gone away. By the way, I saw your TikTok like yesterday. I don't know if you posted yesterday. It says SEO is dead.
The New York Magazine says SEO is dead.
That's true. It's not. It is not.
It's
not dead in the way that it sounds. It just
is
because like when you do technical SEO, which better, I mean, you could probably describe this better than I can, but basically you're just making sure that your site loads and it loads quick and you've got enough content, you got links and it's custom copy and not copied stuff. And I mean, you've got all your correct schema set up. I mean, all of that stuff that it's kind of behind the scenes. It all has to be done. Like you can't just try and optimize for AI overviews and forget everything. But we're specifically talking about the way in which the copy is being written and the way that it is structured.
Yep.
Is that fair?
Yes, that's completely fair.
Okay. So with that said, I want you to talk about dual web. This is something I hadn't heard of.
Yeah.
But it's something I'm excited to test.
I love that. Yes, we are one of the very first companies to be
I see you're the first because I can't find anybody else is doing this.
We're the first company to be offering this as a service. So there are two ways to optimize for answer engine optimization or generative engine optimization. As I mentioned, on-site and off-site. Dual web really focuses on optimizing your on-site content so that it can more easily be parsed, cited, and chunked by AI models. I like to say AI models read with math and Google reads by indexing. So they like words. AI models are reading more semantically with that mathematics and looking for those patterns. So what dual web does and what it offers is we are creating a mirror version of your website that is optimized specifically for AI bots to parse, chunk, and cite as effectively and efficiently as possible, with the outcome being that you are showing up more accurately on AI search, and you are showing up stronger in ways that if you were previously listed number 3 and ranked number 3, you can now be ranked number 1 for that query in comparison to your competitors. You're going to be spoken about in an even stronger light as well on AI search, as you were previously when it was simply just reading your website and not the mirror website. So diving into the technical element and
actually just give me before you jump into technical stuff, just give me a really simple like analogy of what this means. Like when you're saying a mirror of your website, do we see that? Do I see that online? Like how is it happening?
yes.
Where is it?
Great question. So we bifurcate the traffic. So humans see one version, and which is your classic dental version. That's the website everybody knows and loves.
Yep.
It has all the videos, the logos, everything that you would want in a website. The AI bots don't need everything that humans need. The user experience is simply different, and the user needs are simply different. Think how when mobile and desktop, we had to create 2 different versions. We had to create the desktop version and the mobile version for a site.
Mm-hmm.
Now we believe that we are needing to create a human and an AI version for your site.
All right, that's a good analogy.
Yeah. And
yeah, I remember that 10, 15 years ago when mobile search was dramatically on the rise, and Google was trying to figure out, how do I make the consumer or the user's experience of a website better? And so they basically said, create a mobile version of your site.
Yep.
And then that kind of inevitably became kind of responsive. So sites are built in a way in which they display differently based on the device.
Yes.
So and that's how we build all of our websites now, obviously, responsive, basically.
And that's just commonplace now.
Yeah,
where previously you're like, oh my goodness, we need to make a mobile version. That's what we're in right now for humans and AI. We believe people need to be making a version for AI because its needs are so drastically different than what a human needs for your website.
Okay,
so
that makes sense. Now you can go on dive
all
deep.
All good. It won't be too much deeper, I promise. What we're offering is we are able to split that traffic. We can identify when bots are coming in. They have very clear labels. They have to announce themselves when they're coming in to look at your website. So we catch them when they're coming in. We split the traffic and we bring them and kind of forward them to a different version of your website that we're hosting. That version is very clean and clearly stated for going back. That version is a optimized version, an intelligently optimized version of the content that is on your actual website. So let's say you have a blog post about a crown molding for a metal crown molding versus a ceramic crown molding.
Okay.
I'm hoping that's a thing. Okay. And your human website has very in-depth, a lot of text about which is better, why you should choose one over the other. And it's pretty in-depth. What AI needs is something different. It needs a much shorter, sharper version, a very clear headline, a summary, bullet points, an FAQ section. It needs it written in a way that is more akin to human language. So less like you are writing, more like you are speaking. And so we do all of those things to optimize your website. And ultimately, this helps you show up on AI search more accurately because it's not hallucinating. It's not filling in the gaps. If you have too long of a page, it tries to fill in a lot of elements, and that just often leads to hallucinations. Okay. So with Dual Web, we are able to make sure it's not hallucinating. We make sure the page loading time is extremely fast. We're at about 10 milliseconds here. AI stops trying to load your page at 100 milliseconds. So if your page loading time is too slow, that is a real issue. We make sure that it's fast. And
all right, let me do the math. 100 milliseconds is a tenth of a second.
Yep.
I can guarantee you right now that 90% of the dental websites out there are not fast enough.
That's an issue. That's a core issue.
So what you're saying is that if they go to the regular site and it does not load fast enough, they just skip it.
They skip it, and worst case, they actually make things up. So if someone's asking a specific question about your brand, they might not even continue trying to go to your website, and they'll simply make up the answer.
So on this LLM version of your site, you're not pulling images in.
No.
Images aren't necessary. There's no video being pulled into the LLM.
No video.
Just text.
Ooh, fun fact as well. AI cannot load JavaScript. It does not actually load it. So any JavaScript that you have on your site, It
Yeah,
does nothing.
and yeah, so JavaScript is a web building language, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can't imagine like all the problems with that. I mean, I'll give you an example that I just kind of ran into this, and I'm reading this stuff every day, right?
Mhm.
So on all of my blog posts and guest blog posts, I put an FAQ section at the bottom,
Great
long tail
idea.
keywords, right? But I injected it into a JavaScript dropdown
Yep.
and didn't even realize that all the work that we'd been doing,
hmm Did
the
you just realize
elements
that
couldn't
now?
even see it, right?
Yes,
So
it
I
does
sent a
not load
message
it.
to my developer. I'm like, dude, I don't even think these Q&As are getting picked up.
hmm
How do we fix it? No,
Yep.
he
Yep.
hasn't got back to me.
Dual web plug.
Maybe we'll have another conversation.
Yep. I have a way.
You
I
have an
promise.
idea?
I
Okay.
have
All right.
an idea. Yes, that is it. At its core, the dual web optimizes intelligently your content so that
Got
it is optimized for AI search. And all of this means that you are showing up more accurately on AI platforms. And we can also ensure that you have better placement in the AI generated answers. And that's something that's more of a proprietary information that we have that we are able to do, but it is something that we are seeing really strong results for.
Are you using AI to rewrite the content so that the content is readable by AI?
What do you think?
No.
No? Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, it
Okay.
knows itself best. It knows
Yeah,
best.
totally. I mean, obviously it would.
And as we're doing
Okay.
hundreds of websites, thousands of pages,
You're not going to do it by hand.
it doesn't make sense to do by hand. And
Yeah.
because AI knows itself and it knows how it reads the best, we can actually, eventually, we're going to be actually optimizing differently for different bots.
Why do you say that?
Claude might read differently than
Oh, I see.
ChatGPT's OpenAI bot.
So you might have even multiple sites.
Yes, that is the
that are
eventual.
LLMs.
It's going to be for one human page, you might have 4 different AI bot pages that each optimize differently for different bots. And obviously, you don't want the humans to have to go through all of that change.
No.
So
screw it up.
that's why we've introduced the dual web. Humans don't have any access to it, and it's not indexed on Google.
All right. So let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
Let's talk about My Social Practices website. That's one of the company I work with. So we built our site on WordPress.
Okay.
I got so much freaking content on this site, like hundreds of blog articles,
Mhm.
right? Do I need to move my hosting, change the platform, move it from WordPress to some funky system that I don't know about? Or are you literally just going in, grabbing the server files, running it through your system, and then plugging in the redirect so that the LLMs go to it? Like, is there anything I have to do on my website, or I don't?
So for something like WordPress, Webflow, there's certain elements where we do need you to be on Cloudflare. That is something needed for us
What's
specifically.
Cloudflare?
It is a server that hosts a majority of the internet. It hosts a lot of different domains. However, you don't need to change the fact that you are on WordPress. We're not asking you to change that. You need to then forward it to Cloudflare. Cloudflare has to be kind of the gate that lets things in. It's actually really good for security too, because it has really good.
We use Cloudflare.
You should. Most people have that as a layer on top of their actual site.
I think we do. I'd have to check.
It's a great security tool. That's why a lot of people use it. They use it as security for other bots that aren't these AI scrapers, the ones that come and try to have like malintent. But basically, it acts as a little gate to decide who's let into your website. So we have you add that little gate to the front of your server, and we are then able to add in a bit of code and bifurcate the traffic.
Who's a competitor with Cloudflare? Oh, you don't need to look it up. If you don't off the top of your head, that's fine. So let's say that I'm not using Cloud. And by the way, I think most people watching this are going to get lost with talking about all the layers of softwares and stuff. I mean, most dentists I talk to, they're not even sure what their site is built on. Is it built on WordPress? I don't know. It could be on Webflow. It could be a Squarespace. It could be some private company's build, whatever it might be. And then they know about their hosting company. Oh, I host through, this company, whatever it might be. But when we start talking about just deeper than that, we're like about Cloudflare, I think that nobody really knows what that is. But this is a security layer. Yes. Is that fair to say it like that?
It is. That's what a lot of people use it for. But basically, you don't need to be well versed at this. We will walk you step by step through like transferring that hosting onto Cloudflare, and it is free.
Do most hosting companies use Cloud?
I do not know that answer off the top of my head, but all we need basically is for you to be able to edit your server code. That's it.
We used for a long time, we used WP Engine.
Okay.
As the hosting platform. My question is, does WP Engine use Cloudflare? You know what I mean? Are they just building on top of Cloudflare because Cloudflare is like the go-to hosting solution?
Yes, they actually do use Cloudflare.
Okay. So whoever you're hosting with doesn't necessarily mean that you're not using Cloudflare.
Exactly.
They might be using Cloudflare,
yes.
and they've just built on top of it.
So we actually have a way that we can check. So if you give us your website, we can check if you use Cloudflare. So we will handle all of that. If it's not compatible, we've often been finding workarounds, finding ways to make it compatible. So that's not really something to worry about, I would say. But
I don't need to do anything on my website. I just say, hey, here are my credentials, blah, 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 blah. You set it up. You basically grab all the data from my site. You run it through your
intelligent optimization platform,
your private secret sauce. And then you create this second site that is going to be read by the LLMs. Okay.
Exactly.
But nobody's going to see it. It's just the LLMs that
they cannot see it. Even if that website, even if it's pulled through and cited, if I clicked on that as a human, if I went and I'm like, oh, I do want to book the appointment, and I click it, it will bring me to the human site. It will not bring me to the bot site, even if that's pulled
no
in from
user
bot site.
Interface change or anything.
Zero.
Okay.
Zero.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right. Okay. So I get how that works now. So going back to some of the optimization, obviously you're ripping out a lot of the large files that need, like videos and photos and stuff that slow sites down, and you're changing the copy so that it's more easily read by a large language model. You're probably building it in an answer engine type model, question answers, short chunks of information that will get picked up. So that's all being done. But also there's this idea, the speed issue is like when you told me that you have to be 100 milliseconds?
It's 100 milliseconds for that first call, 300 for the loading of the full text.
The fact that is like, and is that pretty solid data? You're not just making this up.
No, not making this up.
So LLMs, if your site does not load that fast, and I guarantee you, doctor, your site is not loading that fast. You're probably being skipped over in a lot of the...
You are. If it's not between 0.3 and 0.5 seconds of loading speed, it gives the chatbot an actual error code, and that means it's going to skip it or it's going to hallucinate.
So I would often go to Google PageSpeed Insights as a kind of a go-to tool to check the site loading site times.
It's a great idea.
And our commitment when we would build websites is it always be on mobile and desktop. It'd always be above 90% in terms of speed.
Great.
I don't know if that's fast enough. Is that fast enough? Do you have any idea?
I would say general rule of thumb is it should be faster. For everything that is previously we felt, oh, this is fast enough. Yes, it's fast enough for humans, but all of us, I think most of us listening to this podcast have used ChatGPT, have used Perplexity.
Yeah.
That answer comes in extremely quickly. Immediately, some may argue, yes. And that is not by accident. That is the design. And that is because they are forcing websites that are loading as fast as possible.
Got it.
So they will prefer your website. They will go to it more often if it is fast.
Okay. All right. So speed is a major issue.
It's a major issue, and it's something that we're trying to solve for with dual web. That 10 milliseconds is extremely quick, and it kind of removes that issue entirely for you.
Okay. All right. Super helpful. You're building in some tracking and some analytics. What are you tracking? Let's say we did what I'd like to do is anybody that hears this, or I might send an email out to some of our clients and say, would you like to be involved in like a case study? Because I'd like, from our earlier conversation, this is something that you are like literally, we're talking about within the last 60 to 90 days, this stuff's kind of come out. Okay.
Yes.
So there's not a ton of case studies and historical data
No,
justifying and validating what we're saying. I will
there
say
is
that.
not.
Not to say that you're not doing what you're saying, but there's not a lot of data yet. But
True.
the indication on what you're seeing in some of your earlier tests is that
Mhm.
this is absolutely working,
Yes,
right?
that is exactly
So
what we're seeing.
what I want to do is maybe take a client or a handful of clients and see how they've been ranking so far
Mhm.
in AI. I don't know if you can do a retroactive okay, so we could do a
Definitely doable.
test. We could look at how well they're ranking in any chat, any AI response,
Their visibility.
do the dual web, and then
Yep.
see the change. Okay, I want to do this for sure.
That
So we'll talk later. If there's anybody that hears this, they're like, I want to be involved in it.
Mhm.
Shoot me an email. We'll get on a call. We'll figure out how to.
Let's do it.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, so tracking analytics. Tell me what you're tracking. Like, what are you looking at now to understand whether it's working or not?
Yeah, so there's two main outcomes that we're looking at. One being the flow to your website, and the other being the answers. And I'll start with the flow to your website because I think that's a little more easy to understand. It's more akin to Google,
Okay.
something like a click-through rate. That we're very familiar with that of Google's click-through rates. We have that same statistic for ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude. How many click-throughs are you getting from these platforms? We have a way to understand that very clearly. So we're looking how many times people are coming through AI platforms to your website. That's one metric, click-through rate. Number two, with dual web, we're the only ones who can do impressions. So we now know how many times bots are calling your website, how many times they're coming in to scrape it, how many times you are a part of the answer in AI search. AI platforms are black boxes. We cannot get information from them for security reasons.
Got it.
Which is great. For everybody who wants their data secure, it is good that we cannot see what's going on under the hood here. But it isn't great for that analytics. So one of the cooler things that we're able to do is infer how often you're being talked about by understanding how many times these bots are crawling your website. So if they're crawling all the time, we can infer, hey, you have 1,000 conversations within ChatGPT that you were talked about today. We'll then be able to take that ratio of impression to click-through rate. So maybe we're not pushing enough of call to actions. So that's why impressions are high, but click-through rate's low. That tells us information of what we have to change. So that's one thing that we are doing to track. Ideally on dual web, it's going to increase both the impressions and the click-through rate specifically, as we're able to boost your ranking, boost your sentiment, make it more positive, talked about better in comparison to your competitors, and loading faster.
Okay.
The second element is around just visibility tracking. This is taking 50 queries from across and running them through ourselves. We run them through ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and Gemini. We take all of those 50 queries that cover so many different intents, different variations of queries your customers might be asking. And we do have location enabled for this. So AI is very sensitive to location. If you say near me, it knows exactly where you are.
Yeah.
It takes all of that into account like Google does. So we are able to run all those 50 queries, get all the answers, and we score the answers. So are you even in the answer? If you're in the answer, are you talked about well? If you are in the answer, basically it's kind of like ranking. You can think of it like ranking of how far in word count down are you? So are you 80% down? And that's when you start being shown. Are you top 10% of the answer? And that's really helpful for people in that ranking one-to-one comparison. And then we're also looking at you in compared to competitors. So across all of these queries, are you second consistently? Are you showing up? Maybe we have Manhattan Dental and Beach Cities Dental here. Beach Cities Dental is showing up number one across 25 of these 50 queries, and you're not. So we tell you that as well. So those are different levels of measurement. And the final measurement, I will say, is around citations. And this is when we get into offsite optimization. We can understand where these AI platforms are looking to get their information. Are they looking at a local magazine? Are they looking at a blog? Are they looking at...
It's a linking. So they're looking inbound links and structure.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And we can tell you, hey, this blog is extremely popular among all of these queries that we have. So it would be a good idea for you to get featured on the blog. because we know AI is already scraping that and it's already
Okay. So
preferred.
the AI agent's going out and it's looking at
Mm-hmm.
reputable sources to gather information. So like the Google business profile for a practice, I would
Mm-hmm.
imagine would be a really highly
Huge,
reputable. So if you're not
huge.
optimizing your GBP or posting to it, which you can post to it, or if you haven't even updated the services in it, or all that stuff plays a big part.
That is actually the very first thing I'd recommend. No pressure, dual web. We know it's new, but for small and local businesses, update your Google business profile. Add the Q&A section. Make sure you have testimonials. Make sure you have as much information there as possible.
Got it.
Another fun fact is it just started indexing Instagram as well. So if you do have a strong social media presence, start adding more descriptive language in those captions.
Okay.
Start making sure you are posting more frequently, customer testimonials, Q&As. All of those things are going to help you show up in AI platforms
Do
even
you know
more.
if it's looking at TikTok yet? ChatGPT, are they going to TikTok or just Reels?
I have not seen it come up
Or
as
Instagram?
a source. We're
Maybe
seeing
not.
Reddit extremely heavily is coming up.
Yeah.
14%
Quora?
is user generated. Quora, YouTube. Google loves YouTube. It's owned by it. So
Yep.
it's hosting YouTube videos. Wikipedia. Ooh, that one. I know our history teachers as kids were like, don't be using Wikipedia as a source. ChatGPT disagrees.
It's there
It
now.
loves Wikipedia. So get on Wikipedia. Make sure you're updating that page as well.
Okay, cool. And just briefly, really quick, I know you haven't had a lot of data, but tell me what you're kind of seeing already in terms of an increase in citations or clicks or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can tell you that we're seeing three main things. Number one is better placement in AI generated answers, especially in ranked lists or comparisons. So when you've activated on dual web, brands that have typically been in the middle or bottom positions are moving up to the top spots.
Okay.
Number two, there's more accurate and more favorable descriptions about your content. We really highlight things like key differentiators, value props, really core elements of your brand. We make sure that we are optimizing for those consistently across all of the pages activated on dual web.
Okay.
And then finally, akin with that loading time and making sure, akin with that loading time and making sure it's optimized, there's less hallucination.
Okay.
And GPT-5 just came out, so we're hoping for less hallucination across the board, but it is still an issue, as I mentioned, with that loading speed. So since AI models are drawing from cleaner, structured content instead of
they don't make mistakes.
decrypting complex like paragraphs, all of these things, it's much easier for it to get things right. So it's representing your brand as well as possible. So I'd say those are the three things we're seeing.
That's awesome. So here's what I want to do. We're definitely going to do a case study project.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're open to that, I'd like to find some clients, some dental clients specifically, who would like to try this out. I'd like to have a conversation with you about our own website as well. So that can be kind of like the action item here. If you're interested in learning more, reach out to Emily, knwn.app.
Correct.
Your contact information's there so they can get a hold of you.
Okay. Yes. I also feel free to email me at emily@knwn.app. So that is my email. And I'm there on LinkedIn as well, too, if you want to direct message me.
And then if anybody wants to kind of be involved in this kind of case study trial of this, shoot me an email, adrian@mysocialpractice.com, or give us a call, and we'll coordinate how this gets kicked off and we'll talk again. But I'm like super excited to see if this works as well as I think it's going to work. Because this is kind of like back in the day, like back in 2009, when we started My Social Practice, we had a way to get a doctor to show up in the Google map, on the front page of Google Maps. It was a few little things you could do, and boom, they were there. And they would get 100 more calls a month, right? So it was like anybody that wasn't like their ear to the ground on what's going on, what's coming in, it's coming down the pipe in terms of marketing, just missed out on who knows how much money, right? And new patients and so forth. And I kind of feel like this might be similar in nature of being ahead of the game, being able to make some very simple adjustments to the way that you're found online because the shift to using AI to find businesses is happening so fast.
It's
It's
so
freaking
fast.
people out. It's freaking marketing companies out.
And that's okay.
Yeah. And no, it's good. It's very good.
Yeah.
It's better for the consumer. But I just think, man, if something like this works as well as it sounds like it's going to work, I mean, this is a huge opportunity for, forward-thinking businesses that want to get found better.
This should be
chosen.
taken as seriously as everybody has taken Google over the years. That's a core strategy for, local businesses everywhere, for a lot of marketing teams. This shift should be taken just as seriously as it is kind of upending discovery channels in and of themselves.
Yeah, it's a big shift. It's the biggest shift in the last 20 years, probably.
Yeah. AI in general, it's hitting everything all at once. But that's also, I want to leave people with the sentiment that this is an opportunity. I don't want you to think this is something scary, this is something out of your control, because if you seize the moment and you seize the moment correctly, it's a real opportunity for your brand and your name to be ahead of your competitors by miles.
I'll tell you, man, I mentioned this earlier, but last week, a doctor calls in and says, I said, how did you find us? And they said, I went to ChatGPT and I said, who's the best marketing company to work with? And whatever, the blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And ChatGPT said, my social practice, calls us, signs up for our services. Like the amount of authority and trust that's already kind of assumed with the AI responses is kind of remarkable. So
9x conversion rate as compared to Google. 9x.
Seriously. Wow.
Yep. People coming through ChatGPT and AI platforms are 9 times more likely to convert than if they came through Google.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Emily, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
This is awesome. I'm sure we'll have you back. You and I will speak offline about doing some kind of a case study and also stuff with my social practice. And I really appreciate your time. And
no problem. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
All right, cool. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Byte Size Podcast. Tune in to stay up to date with everything dental AI and tech